Evening all, evening. It's Monday the 22nd of January and I'm here this week. Just going to adjust that. I'm here this week, not asleep on my sofa like I was last week. So I'm sorry about that, ladies. I'm afraid I was a bit worn out. It turned out I took a couple of days off work to try and recuperate. So I'm back, I'm here and I'm ready to go. Had a fantastic time on Saturday for our open house, which was a lot of fun. A lot of hard work to get it done, but we had lots of ladies come along. It was great to see you all. We had a couple of ladies who hadn't stamped or made cards before, so I always love introducing new people to stamping. Hi Doreen, first through the door, welcome. It's good to see you with us. I was just saying, I'm not asleep on my sofa today. I am awake and I'm ready to go. So let me just bring my chair around. So yes, this evening is essentially a replay of Saturday's Facebook Live. No, not Saturday's Facebook Live, Saturday's open house. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you and make the 4 make and take projects that we did on Saturday. And I'm also going to tell you how you can enter into our prize draw, and we've got a little bit of fun for tonight as well. So starting off, first of all, is our prize draw. So this, oh, thanks, Doreen. You were all very, very kind. So I do appreciate it. So yes, our prize draw this time round is first prize is the Oh Happy Day card making kit, which has everything you need to make these 20. I think it is. I think it's 20 cards, so that includes all of the card bases, the accessories, the stamp pad, the block, the ink. All you need to add to this is adhesive. So that's the first prize. The second prize is this pun intended stamp set, which is a lot of fun, and I think whoever gets it will have a lot of fun with it. And then third prize is one of our brand new celebration items, which is the Mixed Medallions card kit. So again, it has a number of pre-printed and pre-scored card bases for you, along with some embellishments, so to make 2 different types. So that's the 3 prizes. How do you enter the prize draw? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do that. The first way is by placing an order between now and the 25th of January. So what are we now? The 22nd. So if you place an order in my online shop by the 25th of January, you get 5 entries into the prize draw. Another way to enter is to sign up under me as a demonstrator, where if you do that, you'll get 10 entries into the prize draw. And again, that needs to be done by the 25th of January because I will be drawing the winners on the 26th. So basically, if you're looking at the catalogue and your wish list is coming up at more than, £100, then really do think about signing up as a demonstrator, because with the deal that we've got at the moment, particularly during celebration, you get to choose £130 worth of product for just £99. You don't pay postage on that. And you also get to choose any 2 stamp sets that you like from any of the catalogues for free. So it's a really, really, really good deal. Okay. Then after that, anything you order after that, you get a 20% discount on. So it's a great way to build your supplies and get all of those lovely things that you have on your wish list. There are quarterly minimums to make in terms of sales. You can meet that in a number of ways. You can purchase the items yourself to make up those minimums. You can sell to friends and family. You can hold events. There are all sorts of ways you can do that. But one of the great things about Stampin' Up! Is that it's totally flexible. So if you sign up and you decide, you know what, this is not for me, or I just can't make my minimums, there's absolutely no stress about it. Basically, you just stop being a demonstrator after about 4 months. And that's it. There's nothing to give back. There's no hassle. There's no somebody knocking on your door or hassling you saying, why aren't you making your minimums? And the best thing is that if you drop as a demonstrator, you can sign back up again whenever you like, with no penalty, no waiting period, no nothing. So you know what, even if you don't want to make a business out of this, you don't want to do classes, you really just want to get the deal, then that's absolutely fine by me. If you are interested in taking it further and doing classes and things, then I'm here to help and support you either way. So anyway, if you're interested, give it some thought. Have a look on my website under the Join My Team, I think it's called, tab on my website, which is stampingjack.com. And you can sign up right from there. So doing that will get you 10 entries. The other way for you guys online to join in is that I'm going to have a scavenger hunt. I think we did this in autumn when this winter catalogue was launched. So over the next couple of hours, once I've finished here, I'll be posting 7 questions on the Facebook page. And you get 1 entry for every correct answer that you get on that scavenger hunt. But in addition to that, whoever gets the most answers correct will also win a pack of our brand new Tutti Frutti adhesive back sequins. So these come in Lemon Lime Twist, Daffodil Delight, Melon Mambo, and I think Tangerine Tango. But the great thing about these is that they've already got adhesive on them, so none of that fiddling about trying to stick sequins onto your cards. So that's for whoever gets most questions right on the scavenger hunt. And again, that closes, I think the last question will be asked early tomorrow morning, but entries close on the 25th. So I will do a post on the 26th and telling you who's won what. So remember, the ways to enter is to place an order, join the team, join the scavenger hunt. Okay? If you're going to place when you're placing your order, remember to use our host code for this month, which I'll post up on the Facebook page. That way I will be able to send you an extra thank you gift for free, which I think most of you who've ordered already know that. So let me think, anything else? No, I think that's it. So let's get on with the stamping. Just let me clear some space here. So let's have a look. So the first card we're going to make is this really cute one. And this is using one of the celebration sets, which is one of the items you get for free when you spend £45. So this is the Party Panda set. I think I did one, I did a card a couple of weeks ago on my last Facebook Live. But this is the one that we made on Saturday. So let's get cracking on that one. Let's bring in our pieces. And our ink pad. And we're going to need some blocks. Okay, so we start with just a regular Whisper White card base, folded in half. And then we've got a strip of Whisper White, which we're going to do our stamping on. And we have 2 strips of the Bubble Over Designer Series paper. Is it the Bubble Over? Yes, it's the Bubble Over Designer Series paper, which is free, another free celebration item. And then we've got our 2 little panels here. So let's do our stamping first of all. I'm just going to bring in my pad. Okay, so we're going to do this cute little panda here. Okay, we're going to make him do some cartwheels. I'm going to ink him up in black. Now, ordinarily, what I say to everybody, when you're stamping, inking up your stamps, just dab onto the ink pad and not squish. But when it comes to our black ink pads, you can see they're a slightly different material. They're a bit firmer. So, and especially with a solid image. Hi, Lynn. Good to see you. Got in just in time. We're just about to make our first card. So anyway, when inking up a solid image and using our basic black stamping pad, just squish it a little bit just to make sure you've got really good coverage on your panda. And then a tip for when you're trying to do 3 in a row is what I tend to do is I tend to stamp on one end. This is just so we get even spacing, okay? And then I'm going to stamp again on the other end, like so. And then what that means is that we can just line up between the 2, the third one. I just find that's a good way of getting them lined up. So I'm going to do him like this, because we're going to do a little cartwheel. There we go. Alright, and then while we've got it out, we're going to do our sentiments. I'm going to do the little happy birthday here, okay? And as usual, in the next day or so, I will put a post on my blog with all of the dimensions and everything else on there. I'm just going to stamp that there, like so. That's a bit crooked, so I'm going to do it again. Now with our black ink, it does take a little bit longer to dry than our other ink, so just be careful not to smear it. It's a bit crooked again, but never mind. Be careful not to smear it, okay, because you really don't want that to happen. Alrighty, so now, let's close this off. Going to bring in our DSP. We've got some DSP is Stampin' Up! Talk for pattern paper, by the way. I forget sometimes that not everybody knows that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip this panel over, and I just want a strip of adhesive along either end, okay, like so. And then I'm just going to stick these two down. I'm not pressing them down yet because I want to line them up, okay. And then I'm just going to move them so that I've got about 1 centimetre poking out. So this is a great way to get the look of your panel being layered without using up too much of your paper. And it's also a great way to use up your scraps. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same on this side. Make sure they're roughly the same. There we go, and then press down. Alright, so there we have our panel. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back here. Pop that onto our mat. Again, these are just little scraps that I've got left over from trimming my cardstock. There we go. Alright, so we can move that out of the way. And then we're going to get some dimensionals. And just pop these on the back. Like so. Bring back in our card base, which I've just moved off the table. And because this is a long piece, I'm just going to put a dimensional in the center there, just so my panel doesn't sag, so to speak. Okay. So then let's make sure the card is the right way around. I've got a bit of a smudge on there, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to cover it up. So I'm going to place that down there, and then I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals for the back of this panel, which is gone crooked again. There we go. Okay, so I want 2 of those. And I'm going to just pop that across his tummy, like so. Alright, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to colour in his hats using my markers. So I'm just going to use some colours that coordinate with the colours in the designer series paper. So this is Lemon Lime Twist, and then I'm going to use Calypso Coral on this guy. And let's do Bermuda Bay on this guy. I love these colours, they're just so bright and cheerful. And there's a lot of them in the catalogue, perfect for springtime. Just going to do some Bermuda Bay dots on this guy. Some Lemon Lime Twist on him. Go. And some Calypso Coral. Now you could use any markers for these, or you could use pencils if you've got them. You could use our new Stampin' blends if you've got them. It'd be perfect. And there we have it. Really easy, fun card. Again, I think it'd be great as a children's card, but I don't think children are the only ones that are allowed to have fun cards, are they? Don't think so. So there we go. This, I think, was probably the most popular. This was the one that was chosen first by most people on Saturday. And I can kind of see why, because he's really, really very cute. All right, so that's card number 1. Let's see, what should we do next? Card number 2 is this one here, which is using a really, really fun stamp set from the Spring Summer catalogue. Thanks, Lynn. He is cute, isn't he? He's lovely. So this one is using a stamp set called Birthday Wit, and I just think this is kind of a bit quirky and just a bit more humorous cards, which are just a bit more fun. I'm really enjoying using this one. So we're going to use this large sentiment here. Okay, so the happy birthday. Thanks, Doreen. Yeah, he is. He's a lot of fun and very, very cute. Right, so we're going to do that. And then we need our little star. Like so. Okay, so we start with a card base in Marina Mist, all right, and then we've got a layer of Calypso Coral, but I'm going to pop those to one side for a moment while we do our stamping. Okay, so there's a neat little trick here for this one. I'm just going to get some scrap paper, just 1 second. So first we're going to stamp the main image using our Marina Mist. This is a gorgeous blue that I really don't use enough. It's so soft. It's not too light, but it's not too dark either. It's just right. But it's just one of, do you have that? Do you have things or colours in your collections that you really do like, but you just never seem to pick out? And then you look at them and you think, why don't I use those more often? Well, Marina Mist is one of those things for me. Let's make sure this is the right way around. So we're just going to stamp that down in the centre. Because it's quite a solid stamp, hold it for the count of about 5. All right, and now we're going to clean that off. Okay, I'm going to bring in my scrap paper here. Now what I want to do for this bit is I only want to stamp the happy birthday. But I don't really want to go to all the trouble of masking off and everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink up my stamp as normal. Okay, and then I've got my scrap here. All right, and all I'm going to do is just line this long bit up over my scrap like so. Okay, there we go. All right, and then I take my snips and I'm just going to trim it off. Now, the thing to do is to leave a little white border. So because you're trimming it, you don't need to worry about being straight or anything like that. And you could do it on a larger piece of cardstock if that's easier for you. But this, again, is just a good way to use up the little scraps that you've got on your table without cutting into a whole new sheet of cardstock. There we go. It's nice. It's good to leave a little white border because that helps to cover up the blue happy birthday underneath. Okay. That away. So now you can see we have this effect. All right, we'll touch that in a second, but first I'm going to finish my stamping. So I'm going to stamp the little stars. Okay, and they're just stamped randomly around the card, like so. I'm being careful not to press down too hard because I noticed on Saturday that some of the ink was catching. So I'm going to show you a little tip of what I tend to do. If I find that I've got a particular side of a stamp catching, is I tend to trim my stamps. Now this might seem a little bit scary, but actually that Calypso Coral, it is a lovely colour. It's nicer than peach and not as bright as orange. But yes, trimming my stamps, okay. What I'll do is I will cut the rubber here. But what you need to do is make sure that you leave the base intact. So you never want the base to be further in than the top, because then it won't stamp properly. So what I do is I take my scissors at an angle and I just carefully trim. You can see that. Carefully trim around the edge, like so. So now you can see, okay, if I hold that flat, you can see that the base here, the foam here, sticks out wider than the rubber. So that means that I'll always get a good even pressure underneath where I'm stamping. Okay, and I find that sometimes like that, sometimes you just get a little bit extra rubber than you really want, and if you're, oh, lots of thumbs up, thanks ladies. It's really scary when you do it first, I have to say, but it really just makes life a lot easier, and helps prevent those unsightly little halos that you get around your stamps sometimes. And in fact, while we're on the subject of trimming our stamps, let me show you what I've done with this one. This is a single stamp. It comes as a single stamp, okay? And you can see, yeah, it's the cutting angle, Esther, that's right. You just got to get it right. So what I've done here is I've actually trimmed between each of the bits. So it says, this is your fat-free, sugar-free, gluten-free, carb-free, caffeine-free, peanut-free, dairy-free birthday card. And I wanted to make a card that had different colours of it. Let me bring it for you, actually. We made it at our last class, and I wanted this effect. But again, I didn't want to be trying to mask it up and do each one individually. So I cut the stamp apart. So you can see each one now is an individual stamp. If I want the whole thing together, they will go back together again. But it also means I've got the flexibility of doing, I could just do this is your carb-free card, or this is your sugar-free card, or just this is your birthday card. So I've got a lot more possibilities by cutting up my stamp and doing that. So that's just another little tip for you, and don't be afraid to cut into your stamps. Right, so that's that. Let's close this up. Put this out of the way. So I'm going to pop this one up on our dimensionals. Like so. There we go, and then just Tombow on the back. This card comes together really, really quick. So this would be a great one if you were sort of in a pinch and needed to knock one up really quickly. And again, you could do any colour combination you wanted for this. Super simple. Okay, and then we finish it off with some rhinestones. Use my scissors for these. There we go. And there we have it. There's our second card. We're racking through them this evening. Like I say, because they were... Yeah, I have to laugh at this one because my husband, he always teases me for card making anyway, but his idea of a card is literally to fold a piece of paper in half and write happy birthday on the front. So it makes me laugh every time I see it. Makes me think of him. So there we go. There's card number 2. Okay. Now, moving on to card number 3. This is doing using a celebration set, which is the heartfelt bloom set, and this stamp gives a really, really cool effect. It's all, you can see it looks like a photograph, and we have a couple of other stamps in the catalogues which are which give you that effect, but you've got to stamp 2 or 3 times, whereas this one will give you that effect in just one pass. So these are a new innovation by Stampin' Up, if you will, and I'll be interested to see if we get any more of these in the annual catalogue. So again, this is just a really simple card that doesn't take long to do, but I think it has a real wow factor. And I also think it would make a great sympathy card if you ever needed one, because, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't tend to make sympathy cards in advance. They always are made for the occasion, so to speak. So this one is a really good one to bring together quickly. So the colours we're going to use for this are soft suede and early espresso. I'm going to pull out my stamp and I'm going to ink the stamp up in soft suede. Okay. Now again, because it's a big stamp, you want to make sure you get good inking all over. Okay. Like so. There we go, can you see that? And then I'm just going to stamp it slightly off to the corner. And again with a large stamp, just press, don't rock it, just press and hold for about 5 or 6 seconds. And there you go. Get beautiful, beautiful image there. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp the sentiment in Early Espresso, which is just a slightly darker brown. Well, it's quite a lot darker. There we go. I'm just going to pop that there. Let's try and get it straight even. Should we do that? There we are. I see that my ink pads could do with a bit of inking actually. If I show you, this is the one from Saturday, yeah, and this is the one from today. You see it's a little bit lighter, so I'm going to re-ink my ink pad. And actually while I'm on, let's do that so I can show you what to do. Let's make sure I've got soft suede to do it. Hold on. There we are. Okay, so re-inking your ink pads. Okay, so you need our re-inker. And then all you do, just open up your ink pad. And all I'm going to do is just add a few drops. Like so. And then you can use a bone folder, you can use a spoon, but I'm just going to push the ink into the pad like so. Okay, you don't need to do a lot. The best thing to do is just do a few, take the lid off, that works. Top tip, take the lid off your inker. How's about that? There we go. And you can see that the ink is sinking in quite rapidly into my ink pad, so that tells me that it definitely needs inking. I'll show you what I mean. And now, can you see it disappearing in? Yes, Anne, you can colour it, but I think because I've used, you have to be careful what you colour it with, because if you colour it with our markers and things, it might spread the colour. What's the word I'm looking for? Hi, by the way, Anne. Right, so let's just see how that's worked. I'm going to just pop that over the other side, and I'm going to ink it up again so you can see the difference, okay? There we go. Immediately, can you see that? Much better. Okay, now what I always do is when I re-ink a stamp, I always stamp off the first time, or when I re-ink an ink pad. I just want to make sure I've got even coverage. So I've got a bit more than I want on there, so I'm just going to ink it up. Making sure I've got the center. So this is a bit darker than I want, so what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to stamp off, like so. And then I'm going to stamp down. There we go. That's much better. Okay. So there we go. 2 big tips tonight. Trimming your stamps and re-inking your pads. So let's just redo our sentiment. Like so. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some glue to the back here. Just attach it to this one. So this is my Early Espresso base. Okay, move that out of the way. Right, and then I'm going to take my twine. And I'm going to just wrap it round. Okay, so you can do a bow on this if you want, but I quite like it with just a knot. Okay, so I've got it round the amount that I want, which is 3 times, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck my piece underneath like this, so that when I tie the knot it draws the pieces together. So let's tie the knot. Can you see, it just kind of pinches the pieces together, and then I'm going to do a second knot. Like so. So again, Now I really actually want this on this side of the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it across like so. Trim off the excess. There we go. And then I'm just going to spread out my cords. What colour was the flower, Lynn? It's soft suede. Okay. But you can see the difference between an ink pad that really needs inking and an ink pad that's been inked. So you can see it was quite light. There we go. That's it. Now I've got it. All right. And then we've got 2 more steps. Next we want... I want to add the Wink of Stella. Now I don't want to colour too much because the Wink of Stella will blend the inks. Can you see that? It's blending it slightly, it's darkening it slightly. I just want to add some highlights to my image, like so. Don't necessarily want to colour the whole thing. Okay. I want to keep this card really quite simple. And then finally, I'm just going to add one of our gold faceted gems to the centre of this. And I think that finishes it off nicely. And then last but not least, we just take our glue along the back, like so. And then down onto our card base. There we go. Super simple, super easy. And again, this is one where you could do this in any kind of colour scheme. So depending on what inks you've actually got, and if you've got your coordinating cardstock, then it works really well. It'd make a really good set of cards. You know me, I like a good set of cards. So that would make a lovely set of thank you cards to do half a dozen of those. Make a nice gift for somebody. Okay, so that's card number 3. So now we're on to our last card, which was the trickiest one of the day, but it wasn't that tricky, really. Let me just clear this space. Okay, we're going to need the Wink of Stella. We need our glue. Don't need our stamp set. There we go. Last card we're going to make is this one. And I think this is my favourite of all the cards. I think it's really, really pretty. And it uses what I think, anyway, excuse me, what I think is a really cool and versatile set. I love the big happy birthday greeting, and I love the font of it because I think this font, ooh, lots of hearts, thanks guys, woohoo. I love this font here because whilst it looks quite feminine, it's also a bit quirky and it can be quite edgy. And I made a card a little while ago, hang on, I'll get it, where I paired it with when I was using the Brusho inks the other week, and you can see there it looks quite different. It doesn't look girly at all. So that's what I like that. And then of course you've got all the little small images, the smaller sentiments and stuff. So you can really build a really unique card with this one. The other thing is that it coordinates with a project kit in the catalogue. So again, you know, you pair this with the project kit and away you go. You've got enough to make loads of cards, and then you know what you're doing. You can carry on after that. But anyway, on to the card. So we start with our Whisper White card base, and we've got a Bermuda Bay layer. So I'm just going to put those to one side for a minute, and we're going to do our stamping. So let me bring in our panel, and we've got our little sentiment panel. Like I say, again, I'll put all the dimensions onto my blog post so that you've got them all. Okay, so we're going to, let's get out the ink. So the colours that we're going to use on here are Bermuda Bay, Daffodil Delight, and Melon Mambo, which again are just really bright, colourful, fun colour combination. Great for bringing a little bit of colour into this dull winter that we're seem to be going on forever. Okay, right, so we're just going to ink this up. Can you see that there? And then just going to stamp that into the centre, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take my trusty triple banner punch and use it just to trim the ends to get that nice flag effect, like so. That's 1, Done that a bit close, but never mind. That's 2. Okay. And now I'm going to stamp my greeting. So just bear with me 1 second. So what I want to do is, if I take my sentiment, place it where I want it to be, and if I take a pencil, okay, I want it to be there, I'm going to just draw a very fine line just here and here. Okay, yeah, Esther, fresh is quite the word. Yes, thank you for that. All right, so that now tells me where my sentiment's going to go, so it just helps me when placing my images. So let me just put those on the block. So we've got this one, and we've got the little flower, and then we have the little leaf which will go on this block. Okay, so as usual when stamping something like this, I always start with my largest image. I'm going to stamp that in Melon Mambo. So just roughly following the same as what I've got on my sample. Again, this is supposed to be a bit random, and I know that random can sometimes be the most challenging thing to do on a card. But if you're going for random, a tip I have for you is if you try and go for uneven groupings, it tends to help it look random rather than symmetrical. Now that's not the one I wanted. I wanted just the leaf, which is this one. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp those in Bermuda Bay all over. I want that there, and we want one here. Okay, and then we'll add in. So you can see I'm gradually making my images smaller because then it's easier to fill in the gaps with the smaller images. Okay, so we've got one there, and I put one in here. Okay, put one here, and one along the side here. Okay, so there we have, and I think I'm going to put one, oh, I nearly stamped it in Bermuda, but I'm going to put one up here, like that. Alright, and then just so that make sure I'm happy with it, I'm going to bring that back in, and you can see there. Okay, so drawing the fine pencil line is a really good way of just knowing where you want to place it without having to put your sentiment down and keep taking it back and forth, because you know what's going to happen there, don't you? You're just going to get it inky. Alright, so now I'm just going to gently, it won't be all that visible because my sentiment is over it, but I am going to just rub out some of these lines. Okay, here we go. And then what I'm going to do is take my blender pen. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let me just scribble off, make sure there isn't colour on it. Right, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over my images, okay, and blend them. And don't worry about going outside the line, because what I want is a kind of a watercolory kind of effect, which just softens it nicely, I think. So I'm going outside the lines a little, like so. Okay, do all one colour at once with your pen. Okay, so I'm just going to do all the Melon Mambo to begin with, like that. There you go. And then to clean off, all you need to do is just scribble on a scrap piece of paper until you don't get any colour coming out of the pen. Okay, so now I can move on to my leaves. I'm just going to pour the colour in, and again just blur the outlines like that. So this is a good way to colour in your stamps without actually needing any extra ink, which is cool. Okay. So you get a watercolour effect without any extra supplies whatsoever. So, you know when I said it was a difficult card? It's not really. It's just got a few more steps than any of the other cards. Okay, so then I'm going to just scribble off until it's clear, and then I'm just going to go over my yellow. Same way, just to blur the shapes slightly. Okay. The other thing this does is it just helps fill out the gaps between the images without having to put another stamp in there, which is good. Just, yeah, that's better. Blender pens are great because they're not expensive and they're a great way to get even more from your ink pads, because the other thing you can do with your blender pens is if you press on the lid of your ink pad, okay, flip it open, you get a little well of colour in here. You can use your blender pen to pick up the ink and then colour with it. So if I take, again, a scrap piece of paper, which is here, okay, you see that? So it's a great way to colour in your images without having to necessarily buy lots of markers or whatever. So if you're on a slightly tighter budget, then these are a great investment because you get a pack. When you buy a pack, you get 3 of them, so they'll last you for a really long time, and you will be able to get lots of extra out of your ink pads, which is very handy. Alrighty, so here we are. Let's move some of these out of the way. Inky. So let's bring back in our sentiment, and I'm going to mount that using some dimensionals. Okay. Oh, and I forgot 2 very important steps on this one. So the first one, Wink of Stella. Okay, can't go wrong with Wink of Stella, can you? And again, try to do all the colours the same colour in one go, and then clean it off, because it will pick up the colour like your blender pens do. Okay, there we go. Just add some highlights. Add it onto the yellow flowers. Now when you're blending with your colouring with your... Oh, Anne, I didn't realise you didn't make this one on Saturday. Oh, what a shame. That's right, Vicky made this one, didn't she? Her first ever card. Yeah, this one's very pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to spritz. So I'm going to take my my Daffodil Delight pen. As you can see here, I've just got some very subtle here. So what you do for that is, 1, clear the area so you don't get spritzing on your around, and then you take your brush end, and then you just flick the cap, the tip inside the cap. You've got to be quite firm and work out where it's actually landing, but once you get the hang of it, it's really a really good technique that just adds a little bit of extra texture and interest in it. She loves it, Anne. Oh, I'm so glad. One of the best things about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is seeing somebody enjoy making cards for the very first time. I get a real kick out of that. So I'm really happy that she enjoyed it, and I'm sure you two are going to do a lot of crafting together. I think she's definitely hooked. Right, so here we go. We're going to add our sentiment on here, and again, you could make this card in any color scheme you liked. I think this would look really good as a monochrome. Sort of like did blacks and greys and things like that. It'd look really classy on a black background. Louise, absolutely, yeah. Feel free to share. I'm sure they will. They've bought the set ready for the Feb class, so you guys are going to have a lot of fun. Right, so let's finish this one off. So we're just going to do that. Louise, just to mention to you that in the next couple of days I will put all the dimensions and everything up on my blog, so make sure to check that out. It's stampingjack.com, and then you'll be able to get all the measurements and stuff to help you out. Okay, all right, there we go, and then we're just going to glue that down. And there we have it. Another really easy, super simple card. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some sparkle to this by adding some rhinestones into the centers of your flowers. But I really like it's quite striking in its simplicity, and I love the color scheme. So there we go. So that's our card. So let's bring back in the 4 that we've made. So the first one was the pandas, which remember is the free celebration one. The second one was the birthday wit happy birthday one, which came together really quick. The third one was the, let me make sure you can see all of these. The third one was the heartfelt blooms. And the last one was the one we've just made, which was, what's that one called? Perennial birthday. So it's over to you, ladies. Leave me a comment. Let me see which one is the top one for tonight. Okay? And while I'm waiting for that to come in, let me just remind you about the prize draw. Okay? So the prize draw closes on the 25th of January, and I'll announce the winners on the 26th. But the prizes are, first prize is the Oh Happy Day card making kit, which has got everything you need: stamp set, ink spot, block, bases, the whole lot, to make 20 cards. So that's first prize. And yes, Anne, I knew you'd like that one best. It's definitely you. So that's first prize. Second prize is the pun intended stamp set, photopolymer stamp set. And then the third prize is the Mixed Medallions card kit, which is actually one of our celebration items this year. So there are 3 prizes. There's a couple of ways to enter. One is if you place an order in my online shop by the 25th of January, you'll get 5 entries. If you sign up as a demonstrator, you'll get 10 entries. I explained all about that at the beginning of the video, so if you get a chance, go back and listen to the beginning where I tell you how great it is to be a demonstrator. Doreen, the pandas, but the last one, yeah. It's a tight one between these two, isn't it? And then the third way you can enter into the prize draw is over the next few hours, I'm going to be posting some questions for an online scavenger hunt. So what I'll do is I'll post 7 questions asking about items from the Spring Summer catalogue or the Celebration catalogue. We did this on Saturday, and I have to say, I think I was a little bit too tough on the ladies. We had 20 questions, and it was actually quite difficult, so I think I'm going to have to do something about that. But anyway, so you guys are getting off easy. You've got 7 questions, so every correct answer will get you an entry into the draw, so make sure to look out for those questions. And whoever has the most correct entries on the scavenger hunt will win a pack of our, where are they gone? Adhesive back, here. Our adhesive backed sequins. Oh, we've got 3 votes for the perennial and 1 and a bit for the panda. So I think it's definitely these 2 are the winners so far. So yes, make sure to keep an eye out for those questions coming up, and check out the blog post in a couple of days with all of the dimensions, and I will see you all next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for all your comments, and I love seeing the hearts and the likes go across the screen, so thanks again. All right, bye.